Aloha and welcome everybody. This is my video that's going to be on the Scorpio New Moon and some of the highlighted transits between the Scorpio New Moon and the Gemini Full Moon. We're also going to look at the Gemini Full Moon. And so the new moon, Scorpio New Moon, is occurring on Wednesday, November 19th at 8:47 p.m. Hawaii time. The Gemini full moon is happening December 4th at 1:14 p.m. Hawaii time. So you'll want to adjust that to your local time zone. We are going to talk a little bit about the medical astrology of the moon in Scorpio, the moon in Gemini. We are going to explore the star alignments, the galactic connections, and just open our hearts and receive whatever else is flowing through. And I want to be clear that this Scorpio new moon, usually I do a new moon Reiki and astrology share, and I'm going to be traveling. And I have been hearing the guidance to unplug and to challenge myself to unplug, to lean into that. And so I've decided to cancel the Scorpio New Moon Distant Reiki Share, Astrology and Reiki Share. However, if you're on my mailing list, you will receive a channeled Reiki journey specific to the Scorpio New Moon. And if you join my email list after I send that out, then you can email me and I may be able to send it to you depending on when I receive your email request. So just wanted to be clear about that. And then at the end of this video, I will mention what is coming up because lots of things are coming up end of December and January that I'm super excited to share with everybody. So starting off with our medical astrology, this is coming from medical astrologer extraordinaire Judith Hill's wonderful book, Medical Astrology in Action, The Transits of Health. And she has a chapter about the moon. The moon is the distributor of life force energy, and it's distributing the light of the sun, essentially. It's distributing the life force energy that's flowing to us throughout our solar system and then from beyond our solar system as well. As we note that those energies are very strong at this time, not only localized solar system energies, but energies that are coming from beyond our solar system. And the moon is really helping us integrate and embody those frequencies. Depending on which zodiac sign the moon is in, those body parts that are ruled by that zodiac sign will be energized, they will be enlivened, they will be receiving the life force energy. And for Scorpio, it is the genitals, it is the nether region. So at the time of a Scorpio moon, and the same, if you have a Scorpio moon in your natal chart, this will also apply. At this time, body fluids and electromagnetic energies pull readily to the genitals, bladder, anus, rectum, prostate, pelvis, colon, uterus, cervix, the nose, increasing smell sensitivity, the sweat glands, the sacrum, the coccyx, and the prostate. So all of those body parts are part of the Scorpio zodiac sign, medical astrology, body region. Cold and moist, though passionate, fertile, aphrodisiac, increases intense emotion and desire, a potent healing moon, strongly cathartic, stimulating the excretory functions, immune system ramps up, laxatives work doubly strong. This is the best moon for removing worms and parasites. This moon is expulsive. Scorpio moon is perhaps the best time for working with alterative blood cleansing herbs, diuretics, sweating herbs, cathartics, and potent antiviral and antibacterial herbs such as tea tree, eucalyptus, chaparral, oregano, etc. If administered, these will work extremely strongly at this time, so doses must be lowered. Be really mindful of any herbs and know that your sensitivity is heightened. Avoid surgery to Scorpio's bodily regions unless responsible physician advises otherwise. However, these couple of days are good to nourish these same regions. So the genitals, the bladder, anus, rectum, prostate, pelvis, colon, uterus, cervix, nose, sweat glands, sacrum, coccyx, and prostate to nourish those regions. And if you can avoid surgery, then avoid it. But of course, that is not always possible as emergencies do happen and scheduling and such can be such that it's just not possible. So that is the medical astrology of the Scorpio moon. And it's a good time for ferments too. If you like to make sauerkraut and kimchi and those kinds of things, fermented foods, including those in your diet, can be really, really effective at this time. All right, so here is the chart of the Scorpio new moon. Again, that's November 19th at 8:47 p.m. Hawaii time. And you can see in the chart here, we got sun and moon, 28 degrees, 11 minutes of Scorpio. And Mercury retrograde is exactly conjunct the new moon as well. And it's inferior or interior conjunction, meaning it's retrograde, meaning from our perspective on Earth, it appears to be moving backwards, meaning Mercury is very close to the Earth at this time on the same side of the sun as the Earth is at this time. And it is what is called cazimi. Mercury conjoins the sun exactly at 28 degrees and 18 minutes of Scorpio zodiac sign. So that is your hot degree in your chart, or your smolder degree would be probably more accurate and illustrative of the Scorpio energy. So you want to find where is 28 degrees of Scorpio in your natal chart. Do you have a planet there? Do you have a point? Do you have an angle? Which astrological house? And that will show you where you are having this mental reset, recalibration, where Mercury is asking you to go deeper, to slow down, to reassess, maybe make some changes, maybe make some plans and figure some things out. Maybe you're not launching those or sharing those just yet, but some things are going on in the background, some organizing, some scheduling, some rearranging Scorpio matters depending on which astrological house that is happening in. So really, really cool to have this concentration of energy here. You're starting something new. That's the energy of the new moon, the new beginning. You're also rethinking, revising, reflecting Mercury retrograde. You're also maybe having some mental shifts in your consciousness, in your plans, in your thinking that are going to facilitate this new beginning, this new seed that you're planting. And then we also have Venus in the mix. She is co-present in Scorpio. She is 12 degrees away from this new moon, but she is supporting. She is co-present in Scorpio. She's bringing in the magic, the attraction, the manifestation, the sensuality, the sexuality, the depth. She's also harmonizing all of this, sweetening all of this, softening all of this so that hopefully if something intense is coming up, that there is a bit of harmonizing, there's some support, there's some fertility, creativity, relationships, some smoothing and softening of the energy, because we can see this is a zing and a zang as the new moon and Mercury are opposing Uranus retrograde now in the zodiac sign of Taurus, ruled by our beautiful planet Venus here. So having the new moon and the Mercury cazimi opposing Uranus can bring in quantum leaps, sudden awakening types of experiences, truth coming to light, certainly surprises, the unexpected, galactic contact. It really can bring a lot of new, startling, revelatory types of experiences that bring about a greater sense of freedom, of possibility, of liberation, of limitlessness, of infinite potential and possibility. So this can be expressed very, very beautifully. It can also be expressed in a bit of a bumpier or more jarring way. And again, that's where we have Venus coming in here, like smoothing things out. And we also have another flow of smoothing things out here, a grand water trine with Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, the new moon, and all of these Scorpio energies, and then the north node of the moon widely actually in that trine, this harmonious flow of energy to Venus, but mainly it's Saturn, Neptune at the very end of Pisces here, completing this grand trine in water. So that's smoothing the energy out, but it's a flow. It's a flow of water and it's a flow of emotions. So just knowing that this can be a deeply emotional, intuitive, mystical, but healing, like raw, sensitive type of a time that you may notice in yourself and others, and certainly in the collective. This could, be a high level of empathic stress and feeling stress. And that's where it's really important here to be sovereign in your energy, in your field, to use protection and energetic cleansing practices, clearing practices, purification practices to just make sure you're in that really high integrity, high vibrational space that you may want to be in and focus on at this time. Another sensitivity aspect here is Jupiter retrograde in Cancer in square to Chiron and Eris conjunct in Aries. This can bring up old wounds and volatility emotionally. And yes, there's just lots of possibilities for really strong emotions here as well. So to know that and to honor those emotions if they're coming up in you. However, that said, there's something we're learning from all of this. One of the things that was coming through when considering the fixed stars in alignment to Sun, Moon, Mercury, you can see in our galactic chart, Sun, Moon, and Mercury are all conjunct Alpha Centauri and Centaurus constellation. The star is also called Ptolemy, and Centaurus constellation is linked to Chiron, the healer, teacher, mentor, originally abandoned by his mother for being different, for being a centaur, half man, half horse. And then later on in life, after developing his healing and teaching and mentoring skills and guiding so many heroes and leaders that he engaged with, he was mortally wounded and yet was immortal. And that wound was very, very painful for him. And he finally received mercy from the gods and was placed in the stars of Centaurus constellation, away from Sagittarius constellation, because that is a feisty archer constellation. But in this healing, teaching, mentor, very like spiritual constellation that is a better match for the Chiron energy that's so gentle and so beautiful and so profound and so much about, being different, even within your own kind. Even as a centaur, he was not a boisterous, lively, just kind of making love and getting high kind of a centaur, but really committed to a healing journey and an evolutionary journey. So, Sun, Moon, Mercury with this particular star is making me think about what is your medicine? What is the medicine of your soul? What are you here to teach? Ptolemy is linked to the teacher. So, what is it that you have learned in this lifetime and in other lifetimes that you have recollection of? And in what way are you showing up as a teacher in your life? And teaching others through your example And maybe you are a teacher in some way, like as a job, as an occupation, that's a role that you have. But knowing that everyone is a teacher through our example, through our embodiment, through the way we live our life, the way we communicate, the way that we navigate our reality, and the way that we treat ourselves is teaching others that that kind of treatment is what we expect from them or will receive from them. So to really reflect on this teaching, this medicine that's unique to you, and since it's in Scorpio too, it's asking you to go really, really deep and become more conscious of it, you know, with Mercury here, to have a better idea of like what that is. And it might be a zing and a zang and like, whoa, Mercury opposite Uranus, like you wake up to like the depth and the profundity of the teaching that is you, and how important that is, because if you're here on this planet now, your teaching, your medicine is really important. You would not be here otherwise. So having greater clarity, and Venus too, appreciation of the teaching and the medicine that you hold in your heart, in your mind, in your womb, in your whole body, in your auric field, and the way you navigate all of your realities. So that is super beautiful here. You can also see that this chart is galactically very, very lit up. Every single line is full here. And thinking about, you know, I'm not going to talk about each of these alignments, but Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. Mars is lining up with royal star Antares in the heart of the Scorpion constellation. And this star is a star of such mystery, of power, of potency, of transformation, of alchemical process, of changing form and turning lead into gold. This star has so much power. It's huge. It's a stargate. And so Mars is giving us access to more of our multidimensional self, to more of our multidimensional teaching, and also this sense of the spiritual warrior. I really link Antares to that sense of the spiritual warrior. This is the Watcher of the West, linked to Archangel Uriel, and very, very deep, very transformational, very, very powerful. And it's the heart of the Scorpion. So it is that heart energy. I think it can bring about embodied remembrance. This is like action that is action Mars, sourced from a really deep embodied remembrance of the power of your soul and your commitment to awakening higher consciousness in this lifetime. I'm also noticing where Mars is that Mars is approaching the bends of the nodes, the exact square to the nodes of the moon, which are in 15, Pisces, Virgo at this time. So we are being invited to embrace Mars, to embrace action, to embrace truth and freedom. Sagittarius, to embrace life fully, the experience, the adventure. Mars and Sagittarius would not shy away from risk or the fullness of experience and the passion and the drive to be free, to know truth, to expand horizons, to expand your consciousness, to enact in alignment with that expanded consciousness, to take action that's in alignment with your soul's individual growth in this lifetime and the collective evolutionary growth in this lifetime as well. So this is very powerful. This is also echoed by Pluto in this long-standing alignment to Altair star and Aquila constellation, the Eagle. And Altair is all about courage and boldness and bravery and soaring high and spreading your wings, taking the higher view, the higher perspective, seeing the bigger picture. So this courage, this bravery, this confidence, this action, this empowerment, this calling all of your power back to yourself, breaking free. This new moon and Mercury cazimi opposite Uranus. Uranus associated with aviation and the galactic and travel. So we're really, really supported here in breaking free and letting go and purifying what needs to be purified and released so that we are in our full power, our full awakened majesty, our full sense of clarity about what we need to do. Maybe we're not doing it quite yet, but there's a plan that's taking place and taking shape, and there are some actions that we can take at this time, regardless of what is occurring in external reality, consensus reality. This is like you are in charge of your reality. Call your energy back, call your power back, focus on what's actually important, your teaching, your medicine, your empowerment, why you came here. Dig as deep as you need to dig to access that and begin taking steps towards expressing that in its fullness, knowing that that fullness will expand. But this is like just get started. Any step will do. Mars, be courageous, be bold. So, looking at some of the transits between the new moon and the full moon on November 21st, we enter Sagittarius season, remembering that new moon is happening at the very end of Scorpio. So, we're very close to Sagittarius season, Sagittarius solar season starting. So, this is that adventure, that risk, that action, freedom, expanded consciousness, expanded horizons, seeking truth, seeking revelation, seeking that it's like that lust for life, that energy of playfulness and passion and curiosity, and wanting to access the deeper meaning, the higher truth, that bigger picture understanding of how it all connects. November 24th, this is a sweet day to be aware of. Mercury will be conjoining Venus back in Scorpio. This is happening at 22 degrees of Scorpio and 45 minutes. So, wherever 22 to 23 degrees of Scorpio is in your chart, this is that smoothing out, that harmonizing influence of Mercury and Venus. This is where that shift in consciousness can kind of synergize and soften and sweeten. This can bring good news. This can also have the effect of like you reflecting on your value and your worth and really like changing any kind of unhealthy patterns of not valuing and appreciating yourself fully, where you've given your power away, where you have not honored how special and precious and sacred you are. So, this could have us really contemplating quite deeply our relationship to money, relationships, intimacy, and this could bring in a higher consciousness awareness of what we would like moving forward so we can be clean, clear, and bright and attract that into our reality. November 27th, this is our reality check here, Saturn stationing direct, and that is happening at 25 degrees and 9 minutes of Pisces on November 27th. So you want to know in your chart where is about 25 degrees of Pisces. That is where Saturn is really drilling down and asking you to pause, to slow down, to have that reality check in whatever area of life it is. And when Saturn is changing direction, this can cause delays and pauses and things to kind of slow down, especially when you're interacting with consensus reality. I learned this the hard way scheduling flights when Saturn was about to station retrograde, and there were like all of these cancellations and changes in my travel plans. So just to know that might not be the day, wait until after Saturn is direct to go like do something with a government office or fill out a whole bunch of paperwork or something that's like really, really mainstream reality interfacing. So knowing that. That said, you may not feel this at all. It might not be a big deal. But this is that check in with like your inner authority, your sovereignty, discipline. This can really support us in the latter part of November, early December, in being disciplined with what we want to create, what we want to manifest, what we want to bring in, whatever area of life you may need extra discipline to actually get done what you want to get done, even if that's like disciplining in time for fun, time for play, time for doing nothing. As well as Saturn is great for disciplining, your exercise and your diet and making sure you work hard and you're taking care of everybody else, those responsibilities. But the responsibilities to be in flow, Pisces, to connect in spiritually, to do things that really nourish your soul and your spirit. Saturn stationing direct can help us access that discipline to those other areas of life as well, to those other processes that are just as important as the more obvious responsibilities, duties, and obligations. And Saturn changing direction too. This can be like, what do you need to cut back on? Which of those responsibilities, duties, and obligations are no longer in alignment with you? And knowing that pretty soon Neptune's going to change direction and we can kind of like clear and have some help dissolving those responsibilities that are no longer in alignment. So you have space to really focus on and use your discipline, action, and discipline and drive and focus to focus on what is most important to you. What is the actual priority? November 29th, Mercury is stationing direct at 20 degrees Scorpio, 42 minutes. So the end of the month, we really have this like slow down, change direction, changing gear, going to be moving forward soon, but slowly. So if there is a slowness, a pause, this is great for embracing slowness and pause and stillness and knowing that pretty soon the energies will pick up, but to embrace any sense of slowness, pause, and stillness, that this is helpful, this is divinely ordered, and to lean into that, especially if it's coming to you from the outside. This can create frustration and anger and irritation. Just to know if you're being encouraged to slow down, things aren't working out with forward momentum, to go ahead and slow down, to embrace that and accept that. Even look at it as an invitation to nurture and meet a need that is being divinely orchestrated for you. November 30th, Venus enters Sagittarius. This is forward moving. This is expansive. This is heart opening. This is Venus in her fullness and her lust for life and the bigger picture and the truth seeker and the adventurer and just wants to have a lot of fun and invite in different experiences, be out in nature and wild and free and or deep in the metaphysics and deep in the understanding the true nature of reality, the philosopher, the meaning seeker. So Sagittarius brings us either expanded experiences, really wants to feel the blood pumping in your body, to feel the rush of emotions and endorphins and the neurochemicals of excitement. Sagittarius can also be that reaching for those expanding horizons of consciousness and spiritual understanding. So it could bring a mix of both, but with Venus and Sag, it's like we're really wanting the fullness of the experience of what it means to be human and in a body and in physical reality. So that brings us to the full moon and Gemini, and that tends to be every year like a really busy, zingy, it's almost the holiday season. It's kind of that in between Thanksgiving and Christmas usually, and brings in kind of that frenetic, like all the things to do, all the people, all the communications, so much information, so much to coordinate. And just on a purely energetic level, Gemini moon is can be very, very stimulating, can be like, yeah, just like too much energy. It's not good for those of us who have insomnia. So, I wanted to share with you a little bit of the medical astrology of the Gemini moon. Gemini moon, at this time, the body fluids and electromagnetic energies pull readily to the shoulders, arms, hands, bronchial tubes, upper lungs, peripheral nerves, speech. This moon quickens neural connections, alertness, curiosity, mental alacrity, language skills, playfulness, improvisation, dexterity. It awakens, it stimulates the mind, hand, and verbal centers. Not the best time for insomniacs. Good where flexibility or speed is lacking. It can be erratic. Gemini energy resembles fast changing breezes. Warm or cool, the temperature is changeable. Avoid EMF fields. If you can, avoid surgery to the Gemini bodily regions unless it's not possible to do so. Traditionally, one avoids chemical medicine, intravenous procedures, and bleeding of the patient at this time. Again, if possible, and knowing that this is all medical astrology, I'm not a physician, I'm not giving any kind of medical advice. This is just to give you a sense of more of that physical body responsiveness to the astrological energy. So, Gemini moon, this is a great time to study. This is a great time to learn something new. This is a great time. Maybe you've reflected on what you want to teach, what your medicine is, and writing it down, creating a course, creating some social media posts, writing a book, writing a blog, starting a podcast, recording a podcast, talking with trusted friends and colleagues and peers and family members, any kind of socialization. It's a social moon, it's a social time, likes to talk it out. You may notice that others have a whole lot to say, so you may be doing a lot of listening at this time. But it's great to talk it out, to get clear, to have kind of an action plan of what you want to teach, what you want to communicate. This could be a great time of download of making those plans for next year or even just the rest of this year. But as it's Sagittarius, you can have that bigger picture for like, what do you want to do beyond just the end of this year, to talk it out with trusted friends and associates at this time. This would be a great moon to be doing some automatic writing and some journaling. And if you've had any kind of writing or communication project you've been working on, or you have some writing and communication that you need to do, this is your moon for it. It is a great time for writing, communicating, speaking, and Gemini is very detail oriented sign, and Mercury, just changing sign, can really like access those details, connect those dots that help inform the bigger picture. So at the time of the full moon, the sun will be conjunct the great attractor and the moon opposite. Venus will be opposite the stars of the Hyades. We've got Mercury conjunct Hadar in Centaurus constellation. So that same chironic healer, teacher, mentor, Centaur, very spiritual constellation. What does this mean? Great attractor. This is manifestation. This is attraction. This is higher consciousness. This is connecting the cosmic dots. This is like definitely focus on what love, Mercury conjunct Hadar star in Centaurus constellation. We can bring in that love frequency. The more you can attune your vibration to love, we've got Venus co-present in Sagittarius, and what you want to attract and create and manifest. Really, this is so supportive of bringing in that higher consciousness to, as Julia Bilaz always says, recognizing that we're all fractals of the one consciousness of the divine, all of our different perspectives and realities and experiences of truth are valid, and coming into peace with that. I'm also noticing too, this is a big old grand square. The sun and moon in Sag, Gemini are opposite. Of course, that's what makes it a full moon. And they are squaring the nodes of the moon. Again, in Pisces, in Virgo, 13 degrees, 43 minutes. So this can be a big awareness point, a check-in point, of making plans, of having conversations, having communications, writing things down, speaking truth around what is the collective evolutionary growth at this time, what is your place and your role in it all, and how does this really look, that whatever you're talking about, thinking about, dreaming about, attracting, manifesting, collaborating on, that this has a bigger purpose here. So we're called to reflect on our purpose, our individual evolution, but also that collective evolution. And what are you being called to share? Like, what is your part in it? What is the role that you have? What is that note in the harmony of the song of Earth humans at this time of our global ascension process, our earthly ascension process? What is that note that only you can sing, that only you have to share and to resolve and commit to it? As I'm noticing here, Mars conjunct Juno. Juno, the goddess Hera, wife to Zeus, was so loyal, was so committed to doing her part, to standing by even a husband that was not faithful to her. She's a marker for loyalty and partnership. And at this time, we could be, considering which partnerships are worthy of our time and which partnerships we want to focus on and be loyal to at this time. Mars Juno, it's like we're cutting away those that are not worthy of our time and our energy, and perhaps we're forging new partnerships that are in alignment with this higher growth and that are very healing too. Mars is conjunct Razzle Haig star in Ophiuchus constellation. This is the healer star, very deep, very powerful, connected to the dream time. We may have healing dreams about partnerships that we're meant to step away from, or those that we are meant to move towards, and dreams that are about what are the actions. Like, you can ask in your dreams, what guidance, what actions, what do I need to do now? What is my part? Clarify that. What am I separating from? What am I moving towards? And having that sense of vision and clarity about what that is, so that you feel inspired. You can really become more aware of what your part is and have more clarity about those actions, those communications, those relationships that are in alignment for you moving forward, so that you can attract and manifest and create and bring in all that you're meant to bring in, to be that note in the song of humanity you're meant to. But this is really wonderful, and I would just say here, really focus on love, focus on what you want to create and manifest. Like, make that commitment to be optimistic, to hold that higher vision for humanity. Venus, Sun, Juno, Mars, commit to holding that higher vision for humanity, because we're going to attract and manifest it, whatever we're focusing on. So even if there's a lot of chaos, a lot of change, a lot of, disillusionment happening, by all means, please be disillusioned. Remove that veil of illusion where it needs to be removed. And once it's removed, be super focused on what you want to create and bring in the future, because like I said, what you want, your unique piece, is so very essential here. And you can receive clues and guidance on that too, for like what you're most excited about, what lights you up, what makes your heart expand, what gives your tummy some butterflies, what gives you the shivers and the chicken skin, goosebumps and chills and excitement, what maybe stretches you beyond your comfort zone here, but you're really called to do it anyway. That is all signs and symbols pointing towards what your piece in this collective puzzle is, as we're all in this transmutational, transformational, metamorphic process as we end 2025 and we move into the big new beginnings energies of 2026, especially as Saturn Neptune come together at that first degree of Aries, and we have this super supportive small triangle with the grand trine of Uranus Sedna to Pluto, and Saturn Neptune at the midpoint, sextiling both Pluto and Uranus Sedna. So this is, yeah, really, really important here. And I think we're starting to become more conscious of like, what are those new beginnings? I know like all year I've felt like I don't know really what's beyond, February 2026. I don't really, yeah, like it just feels really big. And I think there is that need to like still be leaning into the mystery and into the not knowing and into the openness and the possibilities. But I think some of these, like, yeah, this is actually what you're being called to do. This is actually where you fit in. This is actually your role, how your roles are changing to support this collective awakening, this collective metamorphosis, this collective new beginning and renaissance of creativity and arts and higher consciousness and the new earth, heaven on earth frequencies that we've all been calling in for so long, and why we're here at this time. So I'm really excited to share with you some ways to support yourself as we close out 2025 and bring in 2026. So December 19th, I will be offering a free Sagittarius New Moon astrology and Reiki share at 10 a.m. Hawaii time. Details and registration for that are on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. Make sure you are subscribed to my email list, because I will be sending out information about a free online retreat I'm going to be a part of called New Year, New Energy with Dragonfly Reiki Marketplace. And then on January 12th, 15th, I will be presenting in the Quantum Soul Guidance online summit. And I don't yet have links and things to share with you, but when I do, I will be sending out information about where you can register for both of those free events and really bring in 2026 feeling good, clean, clear, and bright. When I get back from India, I will have some one-on-one readings, some galactic astrology soul readings, and Reiki journey sessions available. So if you're wanting one of those, you can check what is available on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com, when you go to the bookings tab, and that will be linked below that, where all of my one-on-ones are listed. And so that's what I will share with you for now. Have a very blessed, abundantly blessed rest of November, Scorpio New Moon and Gemini Full Moon, and I will be back with you all for a Sagittarius new moon astrology forecast video sometime in December, and definitely, if not see you before then, see you at the December 19th Sag New Moon Astrology and Reiki share, either live or in the recordings. Much love, many blessings to you. Look forward to connecting more soon, and really have a wonderful rest of November and 2025. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.